to have those kingdom conversations.
Thank you and welcome to Kingdom Conversations with Dr. Shirley and Leandra, where each week, through the grace of God, we hope to inspire women to thrive in their purpose-driven lives through lessons learned and a whole lot of wisdom. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Kingdom Conversations as we talk about kingdom marriages. I'm Dr. Shirley.
And I am Leandra Williams. And we are here with part 2 of our Kingdom Marriages and our Godversations. We're here with Kingdom Conversations. Now, tongue twist all that up. But we are here with our session 2 of marriages. Our last episode, we got to tune in and hear a little bit, just the tip of the iceberg and a wrap-up summary on it's like, how do you even fit this all in, right? It's like there's so many layers of marriage and we're trying to cover it all, but we got to hear from Miss Dr. Shirley and hear about her marriage and their story. So today we're just going to tune in a little bit. I'm going to speak a little bit on mine. My Romeo, his name is Charles. That's my husband. I love my husband. But we have total, I better love that man. We have been together for 17 years and we have been married for about 7 years now. So we were together for 10 years prior to getting married. And I think the last session I talked about just building that foundation on God. And that was huge in my marriage with my husband. That didn't happen. You know, I've always been a godly, spiritual person, but it really didn't happen until later on when I brought it up, like you start just seeing the shift, right? So we met when my husband had just turned 17. I still say he was 16, but he's like, I just turned 17, but he was like weeks old.
Can 17, you imagine a man wanting to take on that responsibility? He is a man, okay? He is crazy. A man.
It's crazy. He was young. I'm 2 years old. I'm 2 years older than him, so I was like 18, turning 19, I guess, because he just turned 17. And I had an infant son at the time. He was just a couple months old. And when I met my husband, we met in the restaurant business. And fast forward, pretty much he came over to watch a movie and he never left. That man never left. So I don't know. He literally never left since that night. I'm not exaggerating. Never. And it's funny because even when I had approached him because I was like, okay, he's not going to approach me. And I'm pretty much kind of at that time, I was like, I know what I want. I'll go get it. Right. That was just my mindset. So I was a single mom at the time, living by myself. I had my own apartment, my own job, car, all that good stuff. And he thought I was 30 years old. Okay.
Because you was that independent and successful.
It was sad. I was like, what? So mind you, I'm 35 now, and that was 17 years ago. So he was like, wow, I thought you were like 30 years old. So he kind of brushed me off actually at first. Weird, because that never happened. So that was even more so of a reason why I was like, excuse me. Like, do you know what's going on here? So anyways, we got together years. We have been together ever since. We've always actually worked together in the same workplace up until about 7 years ago or so. We have always worked together in the same workplace. That man has been, my manager at one time. That was no fun.
Working together.
It's been interesting. Now we have 3 beautiful children. And I think when we got together, I was very independent. I had an independent mindset.
Yes,
and I think
you had no choice.
At that time, I had no choice. We're in survival mode. We're young. We're children. raising children. And, you know, I think for that part, I didn't want to really be married at that time. And I don't know if, I can't really say it's because I came from a broken home or any of that, because I loved love. I've always loved love. I always wanted to get married and you know, have a beautiful wedding. But I do believe that I just wasn't in a rush because I was worried about disappointment. I was worried about being disappointed or being let down or it not working, or, you know, when you are going through certain things in your life, you just put it in your head that that's going to be your story too. Or, you know, so I tried to make sure that I did everything I could to make sure that we didn't go through those same trials and errors. Mm-hmm. Well, he has a funny way of doing things, but I think that's what makes us, you know, that's kind of what those circumstances and those experiences is what brings us all together, really, in the end. So, you know, my husband and I, we kind of battled a little bit with my independence. I think he liked it, but then he didn't like it. He was like,
well, that's what you said in the last episode, right? Like, you can be like so-called independent, but like, how are you coming off that allows that man to enter freely?
Yeah, I wasn't allowing entering. I think that's what the problem was.
Do not enter.
Do not enter. And
one way, you're wrong way.
Wrong way. Get the heck out. I was very much so an independent person. I still am. I just had to kind of tune that down a little bit because I wasn't allowing my husband to be a man. I wasn't allowing my husband to be my husband.
Especially since you guys met as babies.
We met so young.
Be a man?
So true. So true. Girl, please. So it's just like, he was actually, when we got together, it was so crazy when we think back, because it's like, how did we do that? You know, my son right now is going to be 18 in a couple of months. That child is not ready to be raising no children, living on his own, working 2 jobs, taking care of somebody else's child. That's not what he is signing up for. I promise you that. I can promise you that. And my husband, he took that on, and I look back and I admire him so much for that, because he has been such an incredible father figure in my son's life and on my 2 girls. He's been an incredible husband as we've grown up with each other. We have literally grown up with each other.
And that's how marriage is supposed to be. You grow up with each other.
Crazy.
And sorry, I just want to stop right there real quick and just say, like, you grow up together. The way you were thinking in your 20s and behaving in your 20s and things that you found okay in your 20s is not going to happen in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s. And what happens is people get divorced at that time when they see, oh, you changed.
Oh, no.
You're supposed to change.
You are supposed to change. I think that is such a misconception, because people have said that to me repeatedly. And I mean, that is not just random people. That is close family, where they say, you're a different person. You're not the same. They say it to you like it's like that's a diss on you. And I have always reverted back, and I'm like, bravo, perfect. That is,
I'm supposed to be that insecure, immature teenager.
You could not have complimented me any better than to tell me I'm a different person, because I look back at things that I've done and I cringe. Thank God there's not Facebook, girl. I'm like, woo, you don't got nothing on me.
No care. Jesus.
So I am just so grateful that, you know, Facebook is here in the brighter days.
I know it's benefiting us, but
it's definitely benefiting. So I truly, when I look back at anything with my husband and I, and how we've literally grown up together, we've built everything together. We always were so tight, and our chemistry was always amazing. And I've always been attracted to him. He's always been attracted to me. So that was always there, right? Like, there was no problem in the bedroom area or any of that. It was the communication.
Which is the number one killer.
It was the communication. It was the understanding. It was It was me playing my role and him playing his role, so to speak. It was us being able to identify that. And you find that, I feel like, when you have a relationship with God. And in our early years, he didn't have a relationship with God. So that didn't come till later on. So we're just bringing ourselves, right? Our flawed and imperfect selves into this situation. And it's, you're trying to become one. You're trying to coincide, but you're in survival mode and you're really relying on yourself. You're going to let yourself down sometimes. The other person's going to let yourself down sometimes because we're not perfect. So if you don't have that foundation building on God or building on, your spirit or your faith in him, then you're not being able to expand what you're even really expecting out of life, because you're limiting yourself and you don't even know it. So I think that was huge for us. The conversations, the communication, my independence, that was a hard one. And I didn't learn that until years later when it came out and he said that to me. Like, every time that you have said, like, you don't need me, or you can do this by yourself, or, that has been a huge blow, not just to his ego, but just to him as a man, and feeling like he is bringing something to me, to my life. And if I'm telling him that I don't even need that, or I don't even need you, then you're leaving that significant other of yours that's doing this life for life with you, leaving them thinking, so why am I here? So what do you need? If I can't provide for you and you can provide for yourself, then where do I come into this?
I'm going to go where I am needed.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Woo,
I'm not saying it's right,
Lord.
But you can't be pushing. It's like, I can't believe I'm about to compare men to veggies, but like, you're literally pushing veggies. Like, I don't want you.
That's right.
Where am I supposed to go
and
then?
You're telling the universe that too. That's so true, Shirley. It is so true. And it's one way to create that wedge. You're creating that space. And guess what? So here's a mixture for you. You don't build on that God foundation. You're creating that space. And guess who is coming in the middle of that? The enemy. And the enemy is chir in this ear and chir in that ear. And now you just got this big storm brewing up, right? You got stuff going on. You're in the middle of hurricane season in Florida. And every week is just like,
hurricanes,
there's a storm coming.
blizzard.
There's a storm. There's a hurricane. There's this. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And being in the eye of the storm is the most beautiful, because that's when everything looks so clear, right? There's so much stuff going on around you that you don't even know you're in the middle. It's just been a wonderful journey, I think, with my husband. And I'm so grateful for where we are today. There's so much to talk about in our past, but I feel like where we are today is just so beautiful. I have literally prayed for moments and days like today. I have first of all, like, disclaimer here, Mrs. Dr. Shirley and her amazing husband have been our mentors, our counselors. For a year straight, they had to put up with our crap. And we were right there, and there was tears, laughter. I mean, it's all been put out on the table, right? And you would think people, if you knew all this baggage, if I came over and I'm bringing bags and he's bringing bags, and we're like, and then there's this. And then you got the trash bags. You're like, and then there's this. And you're just bringing it on the table and you're putting it out there. And you're like, we are at our wit's end. Where do we go from here? What do we do? Like, which way are we supposed to, like, turn at this point when we have nothing left? You have to rely on God.
You know what? That just hit me. Oh, Lord, thank you. Thank you for that wisdom. When you're going through stuff, you don't know why you're going through it, right? The miscommunications in your marriage, whatever you're going through it because God is building something in you. It's not that my husband and I are marriage counselors. It's not that we've even taken courses in it. Well, I mean, he is now.
Your husband.
He has his master's in marriage and family therapy. But, like, if you had looked at our marriage, it's like, you got your degree in what, sir? Have you seen your marriage? But we had to go through that. Why?
Yeah.
We didn't know Miss Lily and Charlie were around the corner.
Yeah.
That's why you go through what you go through, to help out others, to encourage others, to let them know there is a light at the end of the tunnel when you've given up every week for the last 17 years. You've given up. Yeah. You keep looking up divorce attorneys like, listen,
girl,
I'm not exaggerating. For real, we were looking at other, I'm going to find another property because he's the problem. No. What's wrong with you too?
Deep like that. It's so deep like that. See, and I was always the one who was ready to say, you know, this isn't working. I'm done. I'm guilty of that.
Actually, statistically, women are the ones who initiate divorces. Can you imagine?
I can see that.
I know we're going to talk about this at another time, but like really, like my husband showed me this podcast last night, like where like the woman said, there's nothing for men when it comes to marriage anymore. If you look at like the cost analysis, there's no return on their investment. They're going to get married, and then the woman will most likely file for divorce, and now they have to pay alimony and child support.
Yeah.
What is the return on investment? That's why marriage is kind of dwindling. But we are here to build up kingdom marriages because it is worth it. It is worth it. God has a partner out for everyone. The Bible says, thou shalt be fruitful and multiply. We are Jesus Christ's bride.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So marriage is kingdom. Like, God loves marriage and he will fight for marriage. Even when you're like, oh, God, this ain't the person. This ain't the person. God, I think I married the wrong one. Yeah, you did. And you want me to
time and time again, God has told me time and time again.
I'll make this work for your good. Okay. Because I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I do it all right. No DMX voice today.
Why not?
It's a little toned down. Sometimes God just be rolling his head like, I told you. Didn't I say I was going to make it work for you good? But you over here looking up divorce attorneys.
That's right.
Oh, gosh.
Our sermon this week, he talks about how, you know, God is always on time. He's like, right? Can everybody say that? And we're like, yeah, actually, he's always been on time. I might look back, he's on time. He said, but is God ever early? You know, and it's like, how often is God early? He's on time, but is he early? No, because he is rooting us in those processes. He's processing us. He is
and he wants you to depend on him.
Yes.
Right?
There's so much to learn.
Absolutely. And so you've heard our stories. We've gone through it, right? And we've told you what kind of worked with us and what worked with us may not work with you. But I'll tell you this. Are you listening? Okay. Open those ears, right? This is so key. Okay. You have got to respect each other. Okay.
Yes.
It is so important. And I think that's why people like to start off as friends, because you have that respect for one another.
Right.
Like, you know the flaws, you understand where they make mistakes.
That's weird. We skipped that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. God like had a timer. Like, I ain't got time for friends. But I think when there's a respect, you're able to not just talk to the person anyhow. You don't disrespect the person. You value them. You honor them. And that's why it's easy to kind of submit. But when you're just broken home, trying to start this broken marriage, it's easy for you to pop off at your mouth. And that is one thing I have learned. I did not know. I did not know I was not respecting my husband, because I was like, I'm not disrespecting you.
Right.
I'm not cussing you out. I'm not calling you out your name. I was only paying attention to the fact that I was not disrespecting him, but I was not respecting him. Why? Because I would not allow him to be head of household.
That's right.
I would not allow him to, lead and guide, and I would not allow him to do it. Therefore, I was not respecting him. And I really had to dig deep. I was like, what does respect look like? Because I respect my God. I reverence my God. I admire my God. Was I doing that with my husband?
Right.
And so women, if there's anything I can tell you, you need to respect that man, because that's actually the number one thing that a man needs. I know I'm not a man, but I've been told repeatedly by so many men, respect is
everything for them. Aside
gold,
from obviously
diamond,
getting
jewelry,
the,
money,
you know,
more than vagina. Okay.
More than that good. He wants respect first, ladies. Okay, yes. Because respect is key. That is everything, and yes. that's where us women slip up. That's where we do slip up. We have to take, and we think like responsibility.
You should just love me for me. You know who I was. No, ma'am. You have got to be growing. You cannot be the same baby Christian that you were. You need to be growing with the Lord. You need to be growing in the Spirit. Grow up. And what does that look like? You are going to have to change yourself.
That's right.
It doesn't mean you're losing yourself, but the truth is, right? You can't have two gods. You've got to die so that the Holy Spirit can take over you. So you do kind of have to lose your identity and lose yourself. And what does that mean? Shut up. Okay.
And stop yelling.
Our numbers going down. People logged off. Shut up and stop yelling. Stop swishing your neck. I am the queen. Okay, I can roll with it.
She said it just naturally moves like that. They call me bobblehead Shirley.
But the truth is, like I've learned over the years, you pick your battles, and the reason why I pick my battles is because you have to be able to just live your best life. Always hearing someone complain and what you're not doing this and you're not doing that right. And I wish you would. And someone should not have to live on eggshells. Like they should live their life. And if you are constantly complaining, that person is always just thinking they are doing wrong. They're not good enough. You are contributing to their mental health issues. You are contributing to their high blood pressure. You are contributing to their hospitalization. If you are constantly complaining, degrading, disrespecting, putting down that person. I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to speak your mind if something is bothering you. Does everything have to bother you? Let's pick our battles.
Right.
Let's pick the non-negotiables. You crossed the boundary. And how do you approach that person?
That's right.
Ain't gonna work. Yelling.
I think that non-negotiable is huge. The non-negotiable thing is huge because that gives you a starting point.
Yes.
That gives you you can range there. You can, and you
got to teach that person. They didn't know. Maybe that's acceptable to them. Maybe they find that funny. You don't find it so funny. So you just have to teach them. You can't expect them to know and be a mind reader. Okay? Yeah. You are not a mind reader. Okay? You don't like it when your mama and your daddy used to yell at you. You don't like it when they used to embarrass you in front of people. You don't like it how your brother or your siblings or your cousins disrespected you, yelled at you, made you feel small. You did not like it. And therefore, it goes back to not only do you treat people how you want to be treated, you treat the person how they want to be treated.
Yes, okay? Girl, you said it.
If you want to get your point across, be gentle. Be polite. How do they receive it? So that you're not having the same conversation over and over again. You tell them politely and gently, hey, you may have not known this, but what you're doing, it kind of bothers me. It upsets me.
Yeah.
I feel hurt. Oh, that was never my intention. Good. It shouldn't be. Your spouse, the person that you're in love with, doesn't want to intentionally hurt you. And I used to tell that to my husband all the time. I'm like, honey, I'm not your enemy. And so the way you want to get something through to me, don't approach me like I'm your enemy because I have love for you. I may not know what your triggers are or what hurts you or what you find disrespectful. Let's learn that together. But my intentions are always to love you, not to hurt you. I was never your enemy. Right? So that will help. Pray for your spouse.
That was so helpful. I think that was amazing.
You know what I do? I take my anointing oil. I rub it. I pray. I speak things into my husband, not only on him physically, but on his clothes, his shoes, his towel.
Right.
I'm like,
where are you going? You're taking all this with you, baby.
I'm speak into your life. And honestly, that's what they say. Prayer isn't for the other person. Prayer is for you. When I speak into my husband's life, when I pray over him, it does help me because I am the cheerleader. I am the go-getter. I just forget because it pissed me off. I forget I'm rooting for my husband because he done pissed me off.
That's right.
Oopsie daisy. But I piss him off too, right? I'm not innocent.
We women
think we're innocent. He's the problem, counselor. Yes. He's the problem. I'm fine. I mess up once every 40 years.
I do recall that actually. Your husband and I will be talking. He goes, "Okay, now what do you think you need to work on?" And I was like, "That's a good question, honestly, because can I get back to you? Because I don't know."
Not only did you need my husband, myself, you need a circle who is not going to support you in your decisions. I don't care how right you are. I don't care if you've done everything right. You cooked, you cleaned, you massaged him, whatever.
And that's where it was with me, right? I was like, girl, I already do everything. I do everything. You need a circle
that's going to hold you accountable and be like, okay, I hear what he did wrong. What did you do wrong?
Yep. It was the disrespect. But nonetheless, what is that line, Shirley? What is that line? What is your golden line right now?
That's a good question.
You know better, you do better. And I think that that's what we all need to be doing, is knowing better and doing better, so that we can grow, so that we can shine and blossom and bloom.
We want you to have the best.
You gotta thrive.
We are living our best marriages, and we know it's only going to get better because we serve a covenant keeping God. Right? Thinking about where we were. And it's magical now, and it's only going to get better.
It's stuff that says it's getting better, and I'm just like so excited. I'm like, woohoo! You know.
I'm telling you, we are absolutely thriving, and we want you to thrive too. Lily and I should not be the only ones with successful marriages and happy marriages. No, that's unacceptable to me. I want you to be laughing every day, throughout the day in your marriage. That's how it should be. Just all lovey-dovey. Y'all find out what works for you, what's your each other's love language, like all of that. We want all you to thrive. Stuff. Oh my gosh. I love this. I love it because you love talking about love. I love talking about kingdom and godly marriages. So we hope this was fruitful. This was a lot. Okay? It's a lot to digest. So go to that replay, okay? After this.
Go to the replay. If you missed the last one, go to the last one.
Yes.
There's a lot to catch up on, and you have to hear it all.
We love you all so very much. Truly. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Stay blessed.